Cosmic Girl 101 signing on for the Libra Rising Astrology of May 2024. This month we're going to be talking about the planetary overview, being the Sun, the new moon and the full moon that's occurring this month. Planet Mars, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter ingressing into the sign of Gemini, and Pluto going into a retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. So the Sun continues its transit in Taurus, opening up the month of May until the 20th of May. And this for you as a Libra Rising is your 8th house. Now, the Sun is a constant. It's that constant burning energy that wants to live life to its fullest and shine brightly. So when you've got the Sun shining on that 8th house, your 8th house is illuminated. You may be getting into the details, data and analytics of your financial standing, how you interact with people connected to your own assets and resources. Also, topics of inheritance, debt and taxes is highlighted in the 8th house. So there's a lot of attention and illumination going on here that is giving you the time and space to really look at what it is that supports you financially in the 3D world. On the 20th of May, the Sun's going to be leaving your 8th house and ingressing into the sign of Gemini, your 9th house, until June 20 of 2024. In ancient astrology, the Sun found its joy in the 9th house. So for you as a Libra Rising, this is a great placement and a great transit for you, that 9th house. So your 9th house topics, let's quickly go over what that is and what the Sun is trying to illuminate and give you life force towards. Well, it's towards your spiritual and philosophical outlook on life. What do you think about in regards to your spiritual aspects and standing? So it's a very psychological space. You're also possibly very driven towards international and foreign connections, be it physical or communicating. So the house that's to do with media and publishing, law and legalities. And there's also a lot of energy going towards higher education. So doing courses that improve our career and our standing and give us a sense of abundance because of knowledge. So this transit is very auspicious for you as a Libra Rising because it's going to have you fired up mentally and being very switched on in regards to understanding things more deeply, communicating to people about your thoughts and what you are actually driven towards, what really does interest you. And there could be an increase in documents or paperwork at this time when you've got that Sun transiting in Gemini, your 9th house, until June 20. The moons for the month of May, well, on the 7th of May, there's a new moon in Taurus in your 8th house. And we've got an exalted moon happening here because the moon's exalted in the sign of Taurus and Venus is also in her home sign of Taurus at the time of this lunation. So you have a new moon in your 8th house, Libra Rising. So moons have cycles and this is a new one. So it's a dark side of the cycle. It's not seen in the physical world. You can't see a new moon. It's dark. And it's internal. It's very private and very singular. So it's something that's significant to you. And it has an emotional connection. It's something that you really are quite in sync with when it comes to a new moon that is it's very spiritual because it's something that is not revealed. So whatever you're beginning here in your 8th house is very personal to you, but potentially quite auspicious and lucrative in regards to your financial standing in the future. If you are ready to anchor into a long-term commitment or agreement financially, be it a mortgage, a loan, or even a relationship that is really significant to you, that you could be anchoring into a commitment with somebody that is of a financial nature, it looks as if this is a favorable time to connect and make those solid commitments that is going to see your assets house and your financial house flourish in the future. On the 23rd of May, we have a full moon. So now we're at the lunation cycle of it being full, which is visual It's hard to miss a full moon, obviously, unless it's cloudy, but it's very difficult to miss a full moon. It's out there, it's open, it lights up the dark, and it's something that we can all see. So it's an expression that is bright and luminous and to do with our emotions and our fluctuations of fortune. This full moon occurring in Sagittarius, your third house, which is also ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, currently transiting Taurus, your eighth house. So this is quite impactful for you as a Libra rising. I would expect that you could possibly be ending a long cycle of education or a place that you frequent often on a day-to-day basis might now be coming to an end. It could have to do with your financial standing connected to your siblings or a partner as well. Could happen. This could be occurring for you as a Libra rising. You may be very aware that you have come to an emotional understanding that what was in regards to a form of communication or what you do on a day-to-day basis can no longer be sustained because it may be draining your assets in some way, shape or form, or a partner's assets. Planet Mercury. Now, Mercury is transiting in Aries, your seventh house, Libra rising, and Mercury in Aries will have you mentally fired up in regards to agreements, contracts, relationships, and partnerships. So you really are looking at the details and analytics when it comes to you and connecting with other people. This also has a lot to do with exchanging finances with other people, trade and commerce. So you could be very much really looking at the details of a partner's financial standing as well, or even planning things like injecting finances for a future wedding or an engagement party, for an example. But Mercury in the seventh, being Aries, your opposite sign, just seems like you're spending a lot of time communicating and looking at details, even contracts and paperwork at this time, connected with other people. So a lot of energy and mental energy going outside of yourself. So if you're into green tea and meditating and tapping into your spiritual side of life, it would be helpful for you when Mercury is transiting in the seventh, just to pull back and you do you and quieten that mind as much as you can. Well, on the 15th of May, that Mercury is going to be leaving the sign of Aries, your seventh house, and ingressing into Taurus, your eighth house, until June 3rd of 2024. So Mercury in Taurus loves the details about the long-term plan. It's very much connected to self-worth and self-value. So you could be very much highlighting about your finances again is very significant, and exchanges in regards to exchanges with finances with other people, your partner's finances. And this is where you're giving yourself, it could be almost mentally overwhelming and draining at this time. So again, if you need to take a step back and take a day, this would be a really good medicine for you, just to have a self-care day in between this transit for you, because Mercury is all about fast movement and action and a lot of mental energy being expended, and into that eighth house of connections, investments and finances and resources, tax and debt, inheritance, and how it's connected with you and even the partner. There's a lot going on here. So yeah, forewarned is forearmed. That's why we listen to astrology. On the 17th, we've got Mercury in Taurus squaring Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, so your eighth and your fifth house in a square aspect. So we know what the eighth house is about. We've been talking about that. In the fifth house, well, that's all about joy and pleasure and connecting romantically with a partner. It's about investments. It's also about children, your creative pursuits and projects, health and athletics and sports. It's just a place where we feel like we can express ourselves. This is the place where we let our freak flag fly and we connect well, whether it be through an expression of a romantic connection, art, what we invest in, and children and creativity. So we have a square aspect here. The difficulty here is this a place of joy and pleasure. Could be impacting your finances and resources. Quite simply, it's just an irritating day. I think I would put this in a very blanket response as I really want to go out and play a game of tennis, but my partner's resources are draining, and I can't afford to take a day off work to do that. It's something, maybe as something as mundane as that, but it's just an irritating day because that house of pleasure is weighed down by that fifth house of pleasure, weighed down by that eighth house, the square, the tension, the conflict, which is all about, you know, responsibility about our resources and our money. So yeah, it's a tricky day. On the 27th, we've got Mercury in Taurus, sextiling Saturn, which is currently in the sign of Pisces, your sixth house. So when we've got a sextile, this is an easier aspect. An aspect is how planets communicate with one another. So Mercury and Saturn on board, in harmony, in flow, from your 8th house to your 6th house. Could be a great day of a return of an investment from the past that you've been dealing with in regards to your work, what you do in regards to providing services to other people. Could hear some great positive information or even a financial return on this day of the 27th, because it's your 8th house of assets and investments, and the 6th house is work and services. And so that sextile with Mercury, all about commerce and communication, and Saturn, all about the hard work, the long term. You can just see a nice return of communication. A pat on the back, possibly, as simple as that. But we'll take it. It's always nice to have our hard work reciprocated from the outside world and recognised. So it's a great day on the 27th of May. On the 31st of May, right at the end of the month, we've got Mercury in Taurus conjuncting Uranus in Taurus in your 8th house. Yes, we've been talking a lot about the 8th house because this is what's going on for you as the Libra Rising. So Mercury and Uranus coming together. Now, Mercury is all about the speed and the action and movement, and Uranus is about the out of the blue, peculiar, shaking up the status quo planet that is odd and swift and disruptive. This could be just a mentally heightened day that you may need to take a self-care day because there could be a financial situation or communication that could be disruptive to you. And dealing with the 8th house, it could have to do with a partner's connection with resources or investments. Or you could have some information or communication like coming from nowhere that sets you in a new direction because you feel overwhelmed in regards to your financial standing possibly, or you need to get on top of your resources and assets, house. So this day is it's a double-edged sword day. It could go either way, but for me it just looks like you could be mentally exhausted because you've got so much going on in this 8th house. This could just be the day where you need to take a step back or re-strategize and think about doing things differently. Planet Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, for you as a Libra Rising, since the 23rd of May 2023, has been transiting in your 8th house of Taurus. So Jupiter, think knowledge, planting seeds for the future we want to grow. It's about optimism. It can make things larger than life. Transiting that 8th house of your investments, resources, assets, partners' assets and resources. This is what's been going on for you with that Jupiter in the 8th house. So expanding the sense of assets and valuables and really trying to put you in a good standing before he leaves the 8th house. So he's been trying to really inject some stability for you financially and resourcefully. Is now going to be changing signs for another year. Jupiter transits in a sign approximately for 12 months. And Jupiter on the 25th of May is ingressing into the sign of Gemini. And this is your 9th house. All the way until May 25 of 2024. May 25th of 2025. So it's a year's transit. And Jupiter in the 9th house, which is all about international and foreign correspondence and travel, spiritual and philosophical perspective on life, higher education, legalities, publishing, media aspects, so a lot of interaction with media, communication. And we have Jupiter injecting wisdom and knowledge, or the thirst for it. So you may be really just thinking about, places you'd like to see in the world, or tapping into that spiritual side of your life. Would you like to go back to university and study something for your future? So legal proceedings that need your attention, or things of a legal aspect that need to be tied up. Jupiter will be helping you, get on top of the things that you really are aspired to do, connected to the outside world, all in regards to traveling. It's a great transit when Jupiter's transiting in the 9th house for you in Gemini, which is all about Mercury. Mercury loves information and travel as much as Jupiter does. So I would expect, as a Libra rising, this is what will be ticking your boxes. Traveling, be it spiritual or physical, I think you'll be on the move until May 25 of 2025. Now Mars, that fiery planet of action, drive, let's go, let's do it, has been transiting in Aries, your 7th house, and Mars is in its own home sign here. So Mars is strong in Aries. So opening up the month of May, and throughout the whole month, Mars is direct in Aries, your 7th house. Now, Mars in the 7th house, your opposite sign, is impetuous, rambunctious, naive at times when it comes to relationships and partnerships, agreements, contracts, and negotiations. You could be cutting away dead wood, removing yourself from agreements or contracts that no longer serve you, and do it with reckless abandonment. It's like the action first and think later. So forewarned is forearmed. Mars in that 7th can just see you basically cutting your own legs out before you're really thinking about it. And we know during this report for you, Libra rising, Mercury is playing havoc mentally for you as well. So just be very careful when it comes to making acute decisions that may undermine you in the future. And Mars in the 7th can have a lot of increase in sexual connection and energy between you and a certain person. So that's always lovely. You can just expect an increase in your libido, or your partner's libido if it's been offline for whatever reason for some time. Mars in the 7th is all about risk-taking and having a go, and let the chips fall where they may. So when it comes to agreements, contracts, and negotiations, you might just be ready to stop overthinking and just taking action when it comes to those 7th house topics of doing something different for yourself. On the 3rd of May, Mars is sextiling Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So your 7th and 5th house in a sextile aspect. Mars and Pluto, we're talking about very sassy planets here that are all about power dynamics and going towards a goal that is life-changing. So your 7th and 5th house, so you could be just as simple as your 7th and 5th house is, agreements and contracts, partnerships and relationships, your house of joy and pleasure. You and your partner could be taking a overdue risk or a step in a different direction that's going to have long-term ramifications that build a sense of rebirth between you and the other. It could also have a lot to do with just ready to really talk about or plan about children or family, extending your family. It's a really nice day on the 3rd of May, so I would expect Libra Rising, if you are thinking about making long-term connections between you and a significant person, you might have a lot of spiritual downloads and epiphanies, be it from yourself or your partner. So enjoy this day if you're ready to anchor into something long-term that is almost regenerative. Take your time in this day and really think about, the long-term future on the 3rd of May. Now, Venus, your ruling planet as a Libra rising. If you don't know that, Venus is your ruling planet. So wherever Venus is transiting is going to be very significant for you. Now, Venus is currently transiting Taurus, her home sign, and this is your 8th house. So she feels good in Taurus. She's comfortable. So Venus also has a lot of self-worth and self-value. Like I'm, of course the juice is worth the squeeze with me. I'm fantastic. I just organically draw in abundance and beautiful things and experiences because I'm worth it. So in your 8th house, Venus in the 8th is, again, that 8th house is very highlighted for you, Libra rising. So you really are looking at your self-worth and self-value and maybe measuring yourself up against your assets as well. Like, are your assets reflecting your self-worth and self-value, or your partner, So this is what's highlighted for you when Venus is transiting this 8th house. But it's almost as if you've got the guts to speak up and go, no, I really need to get on top of this or talk about this because I am worth more. So if you struggle from being passive, overcompensate to others financially or your time, could be spiritual time, could be physical time or finances. This is where you might have the extra support with Venus transiting your 8th house to draw those hard lines and understand and know your boundaries and understand that overcompensation or not speaking up may not be serving you, and Venus will give you the power to step into your own skin and really get down to the details that are going to benefit you and not overcompensate or drain from others. On the 1st of May, Venus is squaring Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, so the 8th and 5th house in a contention aspect here on the 1st of May. Resources and finances, connecting with your house of pleasure and joy or a partner. It's just an annoying day. Venus and Pluto. I mean, we're talking about the planet of self-worth and self-value connected to Pluto. Transiting in that 5th house of trying to, change your ideas or give you more power and substantial wealth connected to joy and pleasure and investments, children and creativity. It's almost as if the money's not available to enjoy life or a partner's offline because they've got to work for the day. So this is the 1st of May. It's just irritating. On the 13th, we got Venus sextiling Saturn, which is currently transiting in Pisces, your 6th house. So we've got a sextile between your 8th and your 6th house, and it's Venus and Saturn. So it's almost as if, look, if you want the long-term contract in regards to your career or what you do on a day-to-day basis, this is where it can come online and become a reality. It's like signing on the dotted line. That's going to improve your resources and your valuables. So this looks like a really auspicious day. So mark that in the calendar for anchoring into something that's going to improve your assets, houses, that's connected to services you provide, your work, and your daily routine. On the 18th, Venus is conjuncting Uranus and Taurus, currently transiting in your 8th house. So Venus-Uranus can see a return of financial opportunities or an investment that is matured. So you get your money's worth on this day. You see the worth and the value. Is the juice being worth the squeeze in regards to your investment? It also could be a day where you are changing trajectory in regards to doing things different, in building a sense of security and safety with your own finances, and also connected with partner. On the 23rd, Venus is conjuncting Jupiter. So we've got the two benefics in ancient astrology in a conjunction on this day in your 8th house. This looks like a really nice day for all of us, but because it's happening for you, Libra Rising in your 8th house, there may be a very over-the-top, possible surprising debt or problem with a partner's assets that has blown out of proportion that could be affecting you. It could also indicate that there is a legal situation that needs to be addressed with those two benefics coming together in a conjunction, your 8th house. But because they're both benefics, whatever the financial situation is, be it positive or negative with you or a partner or someone else connected to you, it will eventually even itself out. But this looks like a big financial or resource situation that needs to be addressed on this day, or something that needs to be laid down or laid to rest, and detach yourself from an anchoring resource or financial situation that's connected to you and other people, or that you've got yourself into. On the same day, Venus is ingressing into the sign of Gemini. As an astrologer, I love Venus in Gemini. She's sassy, she's sexy, she's flirty, she's fun, she's all about connecting and enjoying life. And this transit is occurring until June 17 of 2024 in your 9th house. Venus in the 9th house, the joy of pleasure regarding world travel, education, looking at our spiritual connections and aspects of our own lives, legal situations that become more favorable, or you can just deal with legalities that are going on around you a lot more easier. It's just like a step up in action when it comes to Venus now ingressing into that 9th house, because she's all about connecting. So you can expect an expansion of movement and action connecting with other people that you're really going to enjoy. So enjoy that transit. On the 25th of May, Venus in Gemini is trining Pluto in Aquarius. So your 9th and 5th house is now into a trine aspect. It was in the square at the beginning of the month. Now, because she's ingressed into a different sign, we've got a nice trine. So Venus now in Gemini, having the time of her life, trining Pluto in Aquarius, your house of joy and pleasure, partnership, investments, children, creativity, sports, athletics. You know, this is where you could be just having a really nice time, physically anchoring yourself into a physical pursuit, playing that game of tennis. Just a really nice trine aspect that is all about joy and pleasure and having fun with a partner, and even just laying down plans or enjoying travel, especially long distance travel. So that's a great day. Mark that in your calendar, Libra Rising, the 25th of May. So a quick mention about Saturn, Neptune and Uranus. Well, Saturn is direct all month in Pisces, your 6th house. So Saturn's doing his magic in your 6th. Neptune's direct in Pisces, also in your 6th house, doing his magic. Uranus is direct in Taurus, your 8th house, doing his magic, trying to transform and change things up in that 8th house investment place. Pluto is going into a retrograde on the 2nd of May into September 1st, your 5th house. So you're going back over plans with a partner about what you'd like to build in the future regarding your sense of pleasure, investments, children, creativity, physical and sport aspects of your life. Pluto is giving you the opportunity to recheck the details and analytics on what it is that is going to give you a sense of joy and pleasure in the future be it connected to another person or just you understanding what it is that makes you feel amazing. Cosmic Girl 101 signing off. Have a blessed and magical May. Thanks for tuning in, Libra Rising. Have a great month. I'll see you next time.